Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am Michelle Morris with Consolidated Planning Group. We have a great webinar topic today. We're going to be discussing, educational options after high school and what happens and, all of that kind of stuff after high school. There's a lot of fantastic programs out there. We did have to change the webinar topic today, so if you were expecting a different topic, apologies for that, but we are going to be talking about educational options beyond high school. Now, a couple more things before we get started. We do record all of our webinars. So later on today, you will receive a copy of the slides for this webinar, and you will also receive a link to our recording on our YouTube channel. I also want you to know that Consolidated Planning Group offers a completely free initial consultation. And we'll get to the how to sign up for that or how to get your free consultation so I can answer any remaining questions that you might have after today's webinar. And the third thing I want to let you know is that since we're in webinar mode, we can't see you or hear you. The chat box is really the very best way that you can communicate with me while I'm presenting, and I can see the questions come in and see the slides all at the same time. So I will get to as many of your questions and comments as I possibly can, but just go ahead and put those in the chat box. Before I go any further, I would like to introduce our host, if you will, Rowena from Hope for Three. Would you tell us a little bit about Hope for Three? Now, I know I live in Missouri City, and our big neighborhood women's group helps support Hope for Three. So I do have a personal, kind of a personal connection. But tell us what you do, Rowena. You're muted. There you
Hey
go.
guys, welcome. I see Texas is definitely in the house today. So, welcome, y'all. I am the Family Assistance Director at Hope for Three. I'm also a mom of two, like I said, spicy autistic boys. So, we're going through the fun phase of life of that transition of becoming teenagers. So, absolutely, this webinar is a great asset to myself and everybody who is in the autism journey. And just like yourself, I was navigating through this system and I came upon Hope for Three, who became a valuable resource, not only providing free events, education, but also empowerment and community. So we do have a lot of great programs. We do not provide direct services. What we do is we can make the create a bridge and close the gap for you. That way you become independent of yourself and learning how to navigate through the system and this wonderful journey. We make partnerships with Consolid Planning Group because they are the professionals at certain topics in which we love to direct. For better knowledge. Hope for Three is the name. Is the namesake of the inspiration. Hope is the mom of three autistic girls. Um, and through their journey, we discovered that, you know what? Autism is forever. So we've changed our mission to support the family throughout the whole autism journey from diagnosis to whenever. Um, we do provide financial assistance if you are in the Fort Bend County area. However, if you do need that guidance, we will not turn you away. We will set you in the right direction. Just think of us as keep of us in a nutshell of like a Google for autism or a ways to point you in the right direction. So thank you again for joining us. If you do have children, I do see some young and like young adults. We do have a great program that's coming up with the school year. It's called the Teen Huddle, which allows our families to let our loved ones, autistic loved ones, participate in social gatherings, whether it's at a trampoline park or at a movie theater or something like that. So let's connect and let's listen today. And if you have any questions, it's all in the chat and we're here to help. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Rowena, and for all that you do and all that Hope for Three does. And just for being here with me today to help present this information. So thank you so much. So a little bit as I get started, I want to tell you about Consolidated Planning Group. So we are a financial advising firm. We do everything that any traditional financial advisor would do for families. Thinking about retirement planning and savings and helping you, think about your financial future. But we do all of that through the lens of understanding that your children might not be able to be completely independent. They might not be able to have a career that's going to provide enough income to support them and their family. So they very well could need your help for the rest of their lives. And there are all these little nuances to the support programs that are available, um, that we know that most financial advisors don't really know about. So again, we can help you with investments, life insurance, securities. We are members of the Special Needs Planning Academy. We are also National Social Security advisors, and I am a chartered special needs consultant through the American College of Financial Services. So while we are located outside, just outside of Houston in Sugar Land, we can serve families all across Texas and all across the United States. And we've been doing this for over 30 years. We have a lot of experience and we are truly dedicated to helping families who have an individual that has any kind of developmental or intellectual disability. So families come to us because they need help thinking about how can they protect their families if maybe the main breadwinner passes away early. How can they plan for a lifetime of care? It's kind of like a third bucket of retirement money that needs to be saved up to pay for your child's care once you're gone. There are several transitions. We're going to be talking about that transition from high school to whatever comes next today. But as families grow and evolve, there are several different periods where you're going to need some guidance in terms of what to do to make sure things are set up. And we work with all kinds of families. We have worked with everybody from CEOs of large nationwide companies, to, a young mother who has twin disabled children and she's a single mom. She doesn't have much, but we've set her on a path and given her ideas, so we can customize the help that we give to you depending on your life, your timing and your situation. It's all customized, no matter if you're already there, you've already made it, or if we need to grow with you and show you the path, like Rowena was talking about. We help families set up ABLE accounts, like I said, life insurance, investments. Um, Understanding how to use the special needs trust versus the ABLE account, things of that nature. And we are always here to advocate for you and to educate you. Out of the entire United States, there are over 263,000 financial advisors. But of those 263,000, fewer than 200 financial advisors truly focus on and understand the nuances of special needs planning. And the reason that we do this is because we not only do this every day, we live it. We are parents. The founder of our company, Allison, and her husband Jeff have four kids, and out of those four kids, three of them are, as Rowena says, neurospicy. My husband and I also work for the company. We've got two boys. They're aged 24 and 21, and one of them is a little spicy as well. So we truly live this and breathe this, and we know what you're going through. We know what it feels like to be in the thick of it and have so many questions. That's why we try to educate and spread the word as much as possible. So we really encourage people to start planning as soon as possible. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out, you don't know where to start, maybe we can give you ideas. Or if you're in the middle of your journey and you're looking for what's next or how can I improve what I already have, or maybe you just want a second set of eyes to see what have I forgotten? Or what do I need to fine tune? We can help with that. So plan now, no matter where you are. It gives you a longer runway and makes you able to make small changes that are going to have a big impact. Whereas if you keep waiting and keep putting things off, you never know what's going to happen. You know, I hate to do this to you all, but my dog is about to chew through the back door. I need 1 second and I will be right back. I swear, 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves for 1 second.
Absolutely. We will chat. So I playfully use the word spicy. I think you all can relate. So spicy, we hear the terms level one, two, three, high functioning, low functioning, but in the term of spicy is basically how much you can handle. So mine can be very spicy to some kids, but they're mild spicy to me. So it's all in perspective. So that's just a little background on that.
That is so true. And they're all different. That's one thing we're going to be
Yep.
talking about in this. Thank you guys for being patient. I am so sorry. Um, so, yeah, we definitely want you to start planning early. Think about what's coming after high school, what educational options are out there, residential options, day programs, all of that stuff. And you can start touring these options early. Make sure that you know what you want to do so that if there's a wait list, you can get on that list. And then finally, we always say just be really careful when you think, oh, Jacob's sister Sarah is just going to take care of him when they're older. It's not always as perfect a solution as you think it might be. It seems easy. It seems like Sarah already knows her little brother and his, ins and outs. But Sarah's going to have her own life, her own family, her own career, you hope. And, at that time, when the time comes, it might be a little too much for her, more than she bargained for, but she'll feel obligated because she wants to be helpful. So, just be careful. It can create some resentment. And then little Jacob might feel resentment too, because all this time, Sarah's been his sister, his best friend, his partner in crime. And now she's stepping into the role of caregiver, which could feel like the role of mom. And, you're not my mom. I could see those conversations happening too. So just be careful when you think a sibling will be able or willing to step in. Okay, so as we are thinking about what's going to happen after high school, we want to, as Rowena was saying, remember that all options are options. There's no good or bad. There's what's right for your family. Not everybody is going to graduate from high school and go straight to a 4-year college with a traditional degree path. There's a lot of different programs and available ways to go. And, we look at the neighborhood page, we look at Facebook, we look at what our friends and families are doing, and it's human nature to make comparisons, but it's really important that you kind of just try to put those away. Your kids are not behind. They are just where they are. Some people talk about, oh, if the flower is not blooming where you have it planted, it's not the flower's fault. I like that analogy a lot. But for me, because popcorn is one of my very favorite snacks, and I make it on the stove like my grandpa taught me. But you put the pan on the stove, the oil's in there, it's all at the same temperature. You put all those kernels in all at the same time and put the lid on, and eventually they start to pop. But there's always, one or two or three start popping really early, and then the rest catch up. And then there's some stragglers, and there's some kernels that just never pop at all. I don't I don't get mad at the kernels, or I don't compare them to each other or say, "Why didn't you pop?" It's fine. It's just that's where they are. It's no problem. Um, so maybe a transition program would be good for, a gap year or a couple of building years. Maybe a trade school or community college. There's no shame in that. My son went to go to the Aviation Institute of Mechanics and learned how to work on airplanes. There are, great degree programs that might be suitable for your students. But what about a certificate program or a career where you just have to get a license to do something? That might be an option. Maybe they want to go to college and experience that, but they just need a smaller course load. Maybe they take one or two classes instead of a full load. There are options around whether or not they live at home or on campus. Living on campus is a big deal for every student, and it might or might not be right for yours. There are organizations that you can partner with that might make it a little bit easier to live on campus. We'll talk about some of those. The Texas Workforce Commission and their VR program do a lot of work in helping train for being able to work in the future. And think about, there's also registered apprenticeships through the Department of Labor, and Project Search is another good option that can help your student find a job that would help fit them and would be a good training option for them. So these links should be clickable when you receive these slides later, and there are a lot of links in this presentation. So please, as you're going through this later, if you find a link that doesn't work or it doesn't go where you expected it to go, please send me a quick note so I can fix it for future webinars, okay? So there was a study done by Goldberg, and he found that there are 6 main traits that students need to be able to succeed. And really, it comes down to these 6 things. Self-awareness, of course, is very, very important. And these are things that, they don't necessarily teach self-awareness right alongside teaching Shakespeare in high school. They don't teach self-awareness while they're teaching you about, math. So these are things that you can work on at home with your kiddos to make sure that they're going to have these traits and be ready to succeed when they are in both academic and non-academic settings. So self-awareness. They need to understand their strengths and their weaknesses. What are they known for being really, really good at, and what's going to be a little bit more challenging for them? With this self-awareness, it gives them the power to have a little bit of perspective going into a situation for what they can expect and how they can expect it to um, relate or resonate with them. So, for example, if I have enough self awareness to know that I hate math, and maybe my child comes to me with a math problem, I know already that I might get a little bit frustrated if I try to tackle this on my own. So I know, okay, before I get into this, I'm going to take a few deep breaths and be really patient because I know my own strengths and weaknesses. Being proactive. It's very important that students be proactive. If you have questions, ask them. If you need help, you know where to go get help. Being proactive in terms of knowing where things are, knowing who to ask is very, very important. And that's going to give them really a good uh, put them above the rest of the students if they're proactive. Perseverance, knowing that certain things are difficult and certain things are going to take more than one try, and you don't give up after the first try. You have to keep trying and keep going and put that effort in. Goal setting, keeping track of your goals and your tasks, your homework is especially important. And thinking about, where you want to be and what's important to you and setting those goals. So you can help your student learn how to do these things while they're still with you in high school. Being aware of and using effective social support systems. Now, for me, this one is very, very important. And there's a lot to it. You know, we think about effective social support systems. So maybe a group of friends or a club or a support group, but it has to be something effective and something good for them. I mean, there's plenty of friend groups who might not be helpful to your student. But there are plenty of groups and organizations that would be. So, and they need to not only know that that resource or that group or that organization is out there, but they need to actually search them out and use it and go to their meetings or their, concerts or whatever they're doing, their activities. You have to not just, yes, I know that's out there, but go and use it and have fun with it. And then emotional coping strategies. This is something we've been trying to teach our kids since they were itty bitties, but it's very important now more than ever that they have strategies to cope with the emotions that are going to come up during this phase of their life. It could be, doing art or punching a pillow or playing a video game or going for a walk, exercising, something like that. Something that will give your student a way to cope and shut down the stress. For me, I have one of those coloring books that are very intricate, and I've got all of my little markers here, all of my different colors. And it sounds crazy, but when things get really stressed, it just helps lower your anxiety and calm your mind and get you back on track. And it's a great coping skill, coping mechanism. And it's really important to have the skill of being able to cope with stress. So, all throughout school, your children have probably had IEPs, 504s, different accommodations for them. Those do not automatically transfer over to college life. So, you need to be aware of the college's Office of Disability. Contact them, see what they're like. They are not all created equal, just like financial advisors. um, Colleges' offices of disability might have a huge staff and many, many offerings and great programs, or they might be understaffed and not really have much of in the way of a robust program for your students. So get in touch with them and see what they offer. When it comes to SAT and ACT exams, AP tests, even college courses and graduate level exams, you can have accommodations. You have to contact the companies that do that. Like I know for teaching, it's a Praxis exam. I think SAT is the College Board. Um, those kinds of organizations. You would contact them and find out what they can offer you and what proof you need to show uh, that your child needs these accommodations. They might ask you for some updated testing. If your testing is out of date by more than like 3 to 5 years, they might want to see an updated IQ test or some updated doctor's records. Again, it will not automatically transfer over to higher education, the accommodations that your children have in high school. So you need to talk with them about that. Also, if your child is over the age of 18, colleges don't necessarily have to talk to you about these things. So you want to make sure that you have a FERPA form on file. How's that alliteration for you? Have a FERPA form on file with the college, and that lets them know that they can talk to you as the parent of this student. You also want a power of attorney in case, something happens. And that could be for your neurodiverse student as well as any neurotypical students you may have. Because if they go away to college and something happens, you need that power of attorney and a healthcare power of attorney to be able to talk to the hospital or something like that if you should ever need that. Now, when it comes to the workplace, there are the Department of Labor website and the Job Accommodation Network can help you see what kind of accommodations are available in the workplace. You can ask for any reasonable accommodation, and they are required to give you that accommodation as long as it doesn't pose an undue hardship to the company that you're working for. So, for example, you can probably ask them to put railings in, but you cannot ask them to put in an entire elevator system for the whole building. That might be an undue hardship. You can ask for them to maybe put in curb cuts for a wheelchair or handrails in the bathrooms, but you cannot ask them to move their entire business to a different building that is more accessible. And those websites, again, can help you figure out what an undue hardship really means. Now, these next couple of pages, I'm going to just talk while I scroll through them. I think we have 3 or 4 pages of educational programs at various colleges that are designed to help your students. There's Strive at Alvin Community College. Austin Community College has the STEPS program. Um, Project Hire at El Paso Community College. VAST at HCC, Houston Community College. All of these, the underlined college program names, I'm sorry, the program names should be clickable links when you receive these slides later. There's LifePath, there's the Project Access. At A&M, there's 3 different programs for your students that they can go through: to CASA, Aggie Achieves, and the PATHS program. So check into these if your student wants to go away to a school. And these programs are designed for those students who have some kind of limitation or disability to be able to go to college and succeed. Not all of them are in Texas. You can check Think College. This is a nationwide database of colleges and universities that specifically offer post-secondary educational programs for students with intellectual disabilities. Isn't that cool? So you can look at this database and see what colleges are in your area. You can sort by the type of school, the length of the program, um, options for living on campus, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a really good database for you. Now, you can also use an independent educational consultant. This lady we know of, her name is Jody Glau, and her company is called Custom College Consulting. So she doesn't work with us. We don't work with her. There's no referral fees or anything like that. We don't get paid for advertising for her, but she is someone that we know of that has a program where she will help your student find the best fit in a college program for them. So if you're having a really hard time finding the right school, this is one program that might be able to help. And there are a lot of programs like this out there. The College Living Experience. This is a program where they provide individualized and customized help to your student in terms of academics and career development. They talk about independent living skills and social development. And this is a program that is available at many, many different schools. It could even be, I can't quite remember if they'll work at all schools because it's kind of like an online virtual assistant type of program. But you can go to experiencecle.com for more information. This one is pretty cool. I met with one of the representatives from Mansfield Hall. They do what they call super dorms. Now, these are only located in Burlington, Vermont, Madison, Wisconsin, and Eugene, Oregon. They are looking for students who are about, 17 and a half to 22 years old who want to go to college. They're college capable, but maybe not quite yet ready to be completely independent. So what they do is they build a residential hall at these various locations that focuses on empowering and supporting the students who have more diverse needs. About 65% of them have some kind of autism or Asperger's situation, whether it be heavily impacting them or not so much. They have executive functioning issues, and they have classes that specifically teach the children how to do executive functioning things and that kind of stuff. So if you would consider Burlington, Vermont, Madison, Wisconsin, or Eugene, Oregon for your student, you might want to consider Mansfield Hall. Another program through it's kind of a sister program to that Mansfield Hall. So Mansfield Hall is an on-campus residential community, like a dorm, a super dorm, they call it. They also have Canopy College Coaching, which is more of an online virtual program that you can use at any college, similar to this college living experience. Canopy College Coaching provides remote coaching services to your student, and they do they help remove social and academic barriers. They help provide support in terms of academics and social activities. They have a coaching team-based model for your student where they can help with executive functioning, writing skills, college life support, all of that kind of stuff to help the students become their best. The Workforce Commission, Texas Workforce Commission has their pre-employment transition services. Sometimes people refer to this as pre-ETS, where they will help your student explore what different careers are available to them, what they might enjoy doing with their life. They have both paid and unpaid internships and other work-based learning services. Um, Education counseling, helping them with college enrollment, financial aid, getting set up for that experience, work readiness options, and how to advocate for themselves. So this is a really great program. Sometimes they do get a little bit behind in the Texas Workforce Commission services because they're trying to help so many people, but it really is a great program. So check out the VR um, and Transition Services program through the Texas Workforce Commission. Now, every state has a vocational rehab service. So if you're not in Texas, check into these programs in your own state. All right, I don't see any questions coming through yet, so I'm just going to keep on going. But if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. And if you're a little shy about your questions, go ahead and just schedule a meeting with me after this, and I'll answer your questions in a more private setting where you don't have to ask in front of everybody. So it's great. There's all these fantastic programs. There's all these colleges with offices of disability that are going to help your student. How are you going to pay for it? First of all, definitely fill out the FAFSA. The FAFSA is that free federal application for student aid, and everybody needs to fill that out. It doesn't matter how much money you make or don't make. You need to fill out that FAFSA. This is used for schools to kind of gauge how much money they're going to be able to give students with scholarships and financial aid. Financial aid programs, scholarship money, and things like that come from your FAFSA. Also, there are community-based scholarship programs. Maybe it's a scholarship program that's based on a club or a group that they're in, or based on their specific disability. Look at scholarships. Look for, you can have a 529 college savings plan for your student. You could also have an ABLE account. Those will not count against them for other benefits like SSI or Medicaid. So you can have an ABLE account or a 529 college plan for your children. And then vocational rehab, if it's part of their program that they say, oh, in order to have this kind of job, your student needs this kind of class. Well, they might be able to help pay for some of those classes then. So don't count them out as a source of funding as well as a source of training and knowledge. Able accounts, let's talk a little bit about that because this can help. You can use an Able account to help pay for college. Now, the thing is, an ABLE account is part of the same program as the 529 College Savings Program. But those funds in the 529C for college, you can only use for educational expenses, room and board, um, college expenses, tuition, things like that. Whereas with the ABLE account, this is a 529A ABLE. You can use these funds for educational expenses, but you can also use them for anything else that your child might need. As long as it helps them achieve a better life experience, you can use the ABLE account to pay for it. Now, we can set these up for you. We do not charge anything. It's a $250 minimum contribution to open the ABLE account for your loved one. Again, it does not jeopardize their SSI or Medicaid benefits. The income that the account earns through, they invest the money and then there is income earned that is not taxable. So it's a really cool tax advantaged savings program meant for anybody who has a disability that started before age 26. Now, again, before age 26, this year you can put $19,000 into the ABLE account. You do not want the ABLE account ever to go above $100,000 because that's when Medicaid can step in and say, oh, you've got enough money. We're going to cut off your benefits. We're going to cut off your SSI or your Medicaid because you've got plenty of money. So don't let the ABLE account go above 100,000 total. Now, if your child is working, they can put more than the $19,000 in there, but only up to $15,560 and only the amount that they're earning at work. So if your child only earns $5,000 a year at work, that's how much extra they can put into their ABLE account. There are no taxes or penalties as long as you're using the money for your child. The investments do grow tax-free. Now, the thing is that when your child passes away, if there is money left over in their ABLE account, there is a Medicaid clause, a reimbursement clause, where Medicaid can come back and claim reimbursement with any of the funds that are left in the ABLE account. Again, you can use that ABLE account to pay for any qualified expenses for your child. And what that means is pretty much anything that they need, whether it be um, daily living expenses, health and wellness, housing, financial management services, transportation, a car, a computer, a vacation. And it does not cause a reduction to their SSI. It does not cause any trouble. Now, with the special needs trust, there are certain things you should not use that for, or you'll have a reduction in your SSI. And that's why it's important that you have both the special needs trust for long-term future expenses. And we like to say that the ABLE account is more like a short-term savings account for smaller short-term expenses that your child might have. So we mentioned scholarships a little bit. Where do you go to find scholarships? Well, we've got it here for you. So first of all, if your child is adopted, if they were adopted through the state, those kids automatically get a state college tuition waiver. So they want to go to a state school, they can have that tuition waived because of the fact that they were adopted through the state. You might want to talk with the child life specialist at whatever hospital system or clinic system you use. Like if you're going to Baylor College of Medicine or Texas Children's or Memorial Hermann, they might have lists of scholarships. And then there's these scholarship kind of databases available where you can go on there and search for different scholarship options. Now, here comes the fun part. Are you ready for 5 pages of scholarship options? Nope. First, we'll talk about the Terry Scholarship. We like to go in depth into this one because we actually know a student who has received the Terry Scholarship. It paid for everything for her entire college experience. So the way the Terry Scholarship works is it's available at any of these 11 Texas public universities. So let's say you really want to go to um, the first one, College Station. You really want to go to A&M at College Station. So you want to apply at A&M and you want to apply for the Terry Scholarship. But maybe you don't get into A&M. Or maybe you get in, but you don't get the scholarship. Maybe you also applied to Texas Tech and you get in and you get the scholarship. So what do? Well, you go to Texas Tech for 1 year and then your Terry scholarship can transfer to any of the other schools. That's a pretty cool thing. What they are looking for is students who have leadership potential and character, a good scholastic record and ability, and a really good evidence of community leadership. The girl that we know who got 4 years paid for, um, the reason she won this scholarship or was awarded this scholarship is because she had over 900 hours of meaningful community service and volunteer work. This wasn't just once or twice volunteering at the daycare at church or something. This was intentional, big time volunteer work. So, not everybody has to have that on their resume, but things like that certainly help. And you can contact the Terry Foundation for more information about this um, scholarship program that they offer. Now, we've got for you a list of, I think, 5 pages worth of scholarships. All of these, again, links should be to what you think they go to. If they don't, please let me know so I can fix it. But all of these links for different scholarship options. Maybe your child has epilepsy. There's an Epilepsy Foundation scholarship. Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. There are scholarships for people who have learning disabilities or who are deaf or blind. We want you to apply to as many as you can. A couple things about applying to scholarships as I show you some of what's available to you. Think about what their deadlines are. Keep track of those deadlines because they don't all have the same deadline. And you don't want to miss a good scholarship opportunity because you forgot when their deadline was. Look at ways to kind of use one application for many different scholarships. If they want you to have your student write an essay, use that essay, or maybe have your child write a batch of essays, maybe 2 or 3 on various topics that you can kind of rework simply to make it fit that scholarship. Um, it's not that difficult. So, and when you're writing these scholarship essays, what they're really looking for is, a true story that shows who your student is. What's important to them? What were they involved with in high school and throughout their lives? What do they love? What is their story and what makes them stand out? All of these great scholarships. There's even fun scholarships, like, there's that one through duct tape where you can make a prom outfit out of duct tape and win a scholarship for that. There's some that require a lot of work from the student, and there's some that you simply enter your name into a drawing. There's some that are large scholarships, which we feel like you should focus on the bigger ones. And there's scholarships, $100 here, $500 there. As long as they're easy, I guess that's okay, but every little bit helps. Mandy is asking in the chat box, how can I see this later? So Mandy, you are going to receive these slides in your email that you used to register for this webinar. You're also going to receive a link to the recording, which is on our YouTube channel. All of our webinars are recorded and go to our YouTube channel. So you will definitely get all of this information later on. Okay, here are some good books that you might want to think of, that you might want to check out, and they can help you figure out what might be a good school for your student. There's the K&W Guide to Colleges, colleges specifically for students with learning differences. The Big Ol' Fisk Guide to Colleges is a very good book. They include almost all college programs in there. And then this book, Colleges That Change Lives, are more about specific colleges that really just have a fantastic program, that are smaller schools that have a big impact on your student. And what I want to say here is, a lot of people think, okay, well, college is very, very expensive. We know that. We know college is expensive. And it's probably going to be cheaper if my student goes to a state university, the kind with 300 people in English 101. It's going to be less expensive because it's an in-state tuition. And yeah, it's going to be a really big school though. And maybe you feel like your student might kind of get lost in the bigness of the school, but that's what you have to do because it's less expensive. Well, if that's what you're thinking, I want to say not necessarily, okay? Private schools might have um, more funds in terms of being able to give scholarships. So even though maybe it's a higher tuition overall for a private um, out of state school, but this private out of state school is going to have smaller class sizes, more community, a better feel of getting to know who you're with because it's a smaller campus. Well, okay, so the smaller, more expensive school might be able to get you enough scholarships that it's going to end up costing the same as a much larger state-run school because the state school has less scholarship opportunity and more people applying. Whereas the private school has more scholarships available through their philanthropic organizations or their alumni network or something like that to lower that price. Okay, so Jose wants to know about opportunities after my child is 22 years old. Yes, some of these programs will take adults up to any age. You just need to dig in and see what's available. Some of the programs are specifically for, students who are under 22 or students who are in that transition period between 18 to 22 years old. And some of these programs are for anyone. So look into them and see what's available in your area. Thank you for that question. Now, I did mention that we're the experts in special needs planning. And it's not just related to college planning. We work with all areas of financial services, and we're here to help you no matter, like I said, where you are in your journey. We can help you think about the future cost of care for your loved one, making sure that you're getting all of the benefits that they deserve, like the waiver programs, um, SSI, Medicaid, SSDI, when and how to apply for all of those programs and supports that are available for your special needs kids. We can help you with ABLE accounts and your special needs trust and understanding, how things need to be set up, beneficiary designations, um, residential living communities, guardianship, and what you need to get in place for your child. Yes, we are experts in working with families that have a child with any kind of disability. Now, we don't have to do this, right? We've chosen this to be our area of expertise because, like I said, we live it day in and day out. We live it. We can help you buy life insurance or plan for your retirement if you don't have a child with a disability. Um, but that's really what we specialize in. And 99% of our clients do have children with a disability. Now, if you have found this webinar to be helpful, we do webinars 2, 3 times a week. Maybe this is the 20th webinar you have been through with us, or maybe it's your first. We always offer these webinars. We always record them and put them on our YouTube channel, and we always send out the slides after the webinar. So if you want to see what we have coming up, you can even pre-register for our webinars so that if you forget or you can't make it on that specific day, you'll still get the email information. Now, we offer a completely free Zoom consultation where, like I said, we can answer any questions you have. Maybe your question is, how do I get started? Where do I even start? Or maybe you have a specific question about the waiver programs or SSI or one of the college programs that I mentioned today. Or maybe you're a little further ahead and you want to think about your retirement. When should I retire? Any question that you might have, whether you're at the beginning stages of planning or towards the end, or you've already made it and you're a bajillionaire and you just have some questions. Anyone can ask us for a free Zoom consult, and we are happy to help. So you can use the QR code. You can call or email me directly, and that information is in the chat box. And it's in the chat box again right now. Or you can call or email our office, and they will get you set up for your free Zoom consultation. This is usually 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how the conversation flows and how many questions you have. We do ask you to fill out a short initial questionnaire before we get to this consultation, just so that when we walk into this meeting, we know who we're talking to and a little bit about you and your family and what questions you have. And it gives us some information to go off and give you some advice. We can see maybe areas where we can help you before we walk into the call so we know what we're dealing with. We also have links to our YouTube channel, our Instagram page, the podcast that we have, and our Facebook page. So you can follow those different social media aspects. Call or email if you want to set up that Zoom consult. And then finally, here's our entire team. Allison and Jeff, like I said, the owners of the company, parents of 3 children with disabilities. And then there's myself and my husband, Andy, financial advisors on the team. We work as a collaborative group, so you don't just get the benefit of working with one financial advisor at Consolidated Planning Group. You get 4 financial advisors working for you as a collaborative group. We also have a fantastic staff behind us who helps with all the paperwork and making sure everything gets done that needs to be done. And this reminds you, of course, that we are members of the Special Needs Planning Academy, nationally certified Social Security advisors, members of the $1 Million Round Table, which is an industry award, and a chartered special needs consultant. So we are truly here to help. We will be reaching out to you to schedule your free consultation. So look at these smiling faces and please try to be kind. Give them the same attention and respect that you give to me during these webinars, because we're just truly trying to call and see if it would be a good fit for you to work with us and to have that initial Zoom consultation. And if you have any questions, we're here for you. We're here to answer those. Okay? So it's 12:55. I think I've gotten through everything. I don't see any further questions in the chat box. So at this point, I want to say thank you to everybody who has been here and watched the webinar today. I hope you found some helpful information. I hope I get to talk to you with your free Zoom consultation. And thank you so much, Rowena, for all you do and all that Hope for Three does. Any other questions? No, no more questions. All right. Everybody, enjoy your summer. Have a great day. And please let me know if there's anything we can do to help. Bye.